In this video, we will go over the 10 most underrated pals. These are pals that are really powerful or useful or both, but they just don't get the shine that they deserve. So we will rectify that today, starting with number 10 on the list, Tombat. Tombat makes the list thanks to its partner skill, Ultrasonic Sensor. Ultrasonic Sensor is basically like your own personal radar that will show every pal in a huge radius surrounding you. Subsequently, all pals appear on your compass at the top of your screen, giving you not only a sense of direction but also the exact location of where these pals appear. This is extremely useful for when you want to differentiate between pals or for when you want to speed farm certain materials. This ability makes stalking fun again. For example, when you need a bunch of flame organs for crafting all those partner skills, or fire arrows or heat resistant armor, and many more useful things tied to the flame organ. It becomes very easy this way, you know exactly how to move. It's even better because the ultrasonic sensor persists through even if you replace Tombat. So say you're farming pal fluids from water pals that you need a lot of for legendary spheres, you can then combine the sensor from Tombat, pull him out, pull another pal like Arzurk in, which will accordingly let water pals drop more items. And there you go. The sensor is still there and you get more drops now as well. Amazing combination that will let you farm much faster, much more purposeful and more efficient. To be honest, all those pals that give you more items from certain elemental types of pals are really great as well. You might even put one of them on this list, but unfortunately they don't make the cut, unlike number 9. Fanworm Christ and Fanworm, essentially the same pal but in 2 flavors. Fanworm Christ is an amazing base worker as it's the only dark and ice pal in the game, and as you may or may not know, dark pals work 24/7 and Fanworm Christ being an ice pal means it's the only way you can get a pal to cool your cooler box and refrigerator 24/7. This is absolutely excellent because this pal provides a way now to freeze the timers on your food at all times. The epidemic of refrigerators not functioning in the night resulting in universal food poisoning is over. However, Fanworm, the fire dark version, is absolutely amazing in the world. It being fire and dark means it has 3 different elemental types that it's super effective against. That already gives you insane value in combat, and it's extra good because you can get this pal very early on as well, and it's a mount. Fanworm gets usually overshadowed by other flying mounts like Valaris and Jetragon, so it is definitely underrated in that sense. But what makes Fanworm really good as well is that it boosts your damage output for weak spots, which you can abuse while riding Fanworm, so you have the benefit of mounted movement and very bursty shots at the same time. Combine that with the Vanguard passive on Fanworm that boosts your attack power, and you have a very deadly way to abuse crits and headshots to go for that sniper playstyle. All your crits will do insane damage. Combine Vanguard with attack-based passives and maybe a Swift in there, and you have a fast mount, a deadly pal, and you become a deadly sniper. Just like Mosanda snipes the number 8 position on the list. Let's be honest, Mosanda gets its praises here and there, rightfully so. Mosanda knows that and accordingly uses the good stuff a lot. Mosanda is an excellent base defending pal with its grenade launcher that you can spam. It will pretty much obliterate any incoming raid when used well. Whether you go for the green one or the yellow one, they're both good. However, even with all the praise, it's still way too underrated. Now, that statement definitely says something. What? Yeah, I don't know. It's too underrated for, say, the open world and boss fights. Because Mosanda has this weird floaty type of movement which is actually insane when fighting, and this is the part that makes it truly underrated. It screws over the AI and pathing somewhat, to say the least. Enemies have a harder time hitting you successfully, and you can just continue launching grenades and obliterating your pals while you're effectively dodging everything. Note that these grenades themselves function as like a staggered grenade as well, giving you insane control in combat. You can destroy bosses easily with Mosanda because you get a bunch of these grenades. What is fun is that you can accordingly make Mosanda really broken as well. For example, if we go with the green one, get 4 Bristlas in your party to buff grass damage, breed your Mosanda with useful passives that increase your attack power, and you have a nuclear weapon right here. Because accordingly, green Mosanda will learn stuff like Solar Blast, Solar Vine, and Seed Mine naturally. And I definitely like abusing the green Mosanda's floaty way of movement to get on top of our enemy's head and then use said abilities. This will guarantee that they will instantly hit their weak points too. To point out that Reindrix at number 7 isn't weak would be the understatement of the week. Reindrix is so underrated that when you Google this spell, you get 0 results. Okay, that is not true. But yeah, maybe rather 0 results talking about the power of this spell. This spell has a really good unique ability called Freezing Charge that nobody in the history of the history has talked about. It's a hard-hitting attack that stuns or staggers your enemies, which gives you a lot of control and momentum to then follow it up with other attacks. However, that is just one part of the deal. It has an insanely low cooldown, 9 seconds, and you use it for like 3 to 5 seconds during the cooldown, so by the time you get the attack in, you will be almost ready for another Freezing Charge. Accordingly, you can chain this attack pretty much, or weave in one of your other attacks to then use it again to keep your DPS high. But its low cooldown makes it not just good for combat, but also for movement, because you can get a lot of movement in a short time frame like this as a ground mount. And Reindrix also provides you the additional effect of giving you heat resistance. It keeps you cool in the desert. So there are definitely arguments to be made there to use it as your main mount. Combine Reindrix with a few Foxicles in your party to get its attack boosted, attack boosting passives, and say Swift as well for extra speed, and this is a good deadly boy to travel with. And Reindrix gets fitting skills like Blizzard Spike and Crisp Breath that you can combine with your spammable charge for great sustained damage. And this spell just looks fabulous. Just like our broccoli files would say that broccoli looks fabulous, but what is even more fabulous is Indifferent Broccoli server hosting. Thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. Use my link and you can immediately check them out and get 2 days trial for free. Yes, and if you have any problems, their customer support have no lives whatsoever, so you'll quickly get help. Also, they use quality hardware to host fast servers. Not the shady aftermarket stuff, you won't get scammed, don't worry. If you get a bad experience, I will personally visit them and nuke their headquarters with my army of daydreams. Use my exclusive link and you know what to do, because Ragnarok at number 6 can't take it any longer. Ragnarok is another product of getting overshadowed by other flying mounts. It has made Ragnarok mad and sad at the world, to the point it had to use a certain weapon as a last resort to still compete. The usage of Norse mythology for its name to stand out and make a comeback. See, Ragnarok is an absolute monster. The fact that it's a flying mount that you can fit through any place really is so huge for when you're doing dungeons or maneuvering through caves, for example, that in itself is already worth considering taking Ragnarok. And if you breed it right, you can make it really fast too. Ragnarok is also fire, so you get the super effective against 2 elements bonus, and this bird has a bunch of powerful attacks that make good use of that benefit. You can build powerful teams with it that boost its attack, but also your attacks, and I'm saying your attack specifically because Ragnarok makes your shots of the fire type and can give it up to a 100% boost to your damage output if you get it to rank 5. And as you see, there are a variety of arguments about why Ragnarok, just like Vanwyrm, are still great mounts to consider, even if you're dead set on using Valaris or Jetragon. But thankfully, the very potent potential setups that revolve around Ragnarok are becoming more and more known. So Ragnarok isn't as underrated as the number 5 on the list. Toko Toko. Toko Toko? Toko Toko. Playing with this spell will make you crazy. Honestly, too many people seem to dismiss Toko Toko for no reason. Maybe because it's a neutral spell, so there's nothing it's really super effective against. Well, that is already a bummer, and it looks weird why we even use this thing, let's be honest. But like the saying goes, never judge a book by its Never judge a book by its clever. Never book a judge for a cover. Never cover a judge. Never buy a clover for a judge. Never have a grudge against a judge with a book. Never judge a cover by its book. There we go. Why Toko Toko is powerful is simple. Its ability is super busted. That's it. It can trivialize many fights. You get so many eggs that you can shoot out of this thing's butt that I'm very impressed by this thing's overall damage, even on late game and end game bosses. And even when you don't use it against bosses, it can nuke entire fields easily and clear many enemies quickly. That's really all there is to this amazing spell. It's simple but very powerful, and you can in fact boost neutral damage. Just get 4 Gremses or 4 Rebunnies and you will get the boost to neutral damage too. The damage can spiral out of control, just like something as little as Jolthog spirals out of control at number 4. Jolthog is tiny and gets overlooked a lot. You wouldn't think something this small would possess incredible powers, but it being of the lightning elemental type is nice already. It means all its powerful lightning spells get that nice plus 20% boost to its damage, and a lot of those spells electrify enemies, maybe even in an AoE capacity, and as you know, stunning enemies increases your catch rate, so you can use that to increase your catch rate from a very early point in the game. But that and the sheer number of powerful spells that this fellow learns and can shoot out of its I don't know what, is really impressive. Combine that, however, with the real reason why Jolt Hog is on the list, Jolt Bomb, and it becomes apparent that Mr. or Mrs. Jolt Hog has a massive hog. This is Jolt Hog's partner skill, and it's nuclear. What Oppenheimer created is nothing compared to this. Jolt Hog, however, doesn't get depressed after using this partner skill. No, Jolt Hog is a devious tiny fellow, where he can use his partner skill often to get rid of many enemies or bosses altogether. And even if the blast doesn't initially kill the enemy, it still stuns them, giving you momentum so you can follow it up with Jolt Hog's remainder of powerful abilities. We're talking skills like Try Lightning, Lightning Streak, and Lightning Bolt. Get some Sparkets as well to boost its lightning damage, and Jolt Hog will make sure that the Palworld is not safe anymore. But thankfully, Bushi at number 3 is here to save the world. Bushi is an amazing pal. This pal is the definition of coolness itself. The only thing you have to do is point at a target that needs to die, and it doesn't matter if it's small or big, it dies. It doesn't matter how far it is removed from you. No, Bushi can teleport and instant nuke whatever it strikes. This is thanks to Bushi's exclusive ability, Iagiri, which you can activate manually, but it's an ability that Bushi will do automatically too, so it is stackable like that. You use it first, Bushi strikes, then Bushi defies the rules of cooldown and just does it again. A lot of power right there already, especially because this move will make it so that Bushi just ignores and dodges a lot of incoming attacks without even realizing it as well. Then Bushi is a fire pal as well, you know, something with 2 elements, super effective, blah blah blah, and its damage gets amazing. You can combine the Iagiri with Ignis Rage, which Bushi learns at a later level naturally for an absolute amazing combo. Basically teleport, slash, and then blaze the entire field in flames that will kill off anything that survived the initial hit. And then Bushi learns Lightning Strike naturally as well, which is the cherry on top of the cake, as it means you have a powerful ability that deals with fire's weakness, water, or water pals. So overall, Bushi has an amazing kit that gives you a lot of evasiveness and damage, boosted with your regular attack boosting passives and fire damage boosting pals, and you will have a great time. If you thought that was all though, no. Bushi has also a plethora of higher level work suitability as well. Just look at this. Is there something this pal can do and somehow nobody talks about Bushi? It is mind-boggling. Just like it's mind-boggling to find Warsect, which is somehow even more underrated relative to its power at number 2. Warsect is a menace, an insect that has war in the name in this game. I just came. Warsect is ground and grass, so it gets that plus 20% bonus to both ground and grass type of attacks, and Warsect gets a bunch of defense and HP naturally as well as attack, so combining all of that and you can create something very powerful. Because you can feed it Sand Tornado, Grass Tornado, and something like Seed Mine, which are some of the best grass and ground abilities in the game when combined, and you can get them relatively early. And these abilities in themselves can already obliterate many bosses and different encounters in the game. But what is truly fascinating here is the fact that casting these abilities, the many instances of hits that they provide, and their relative low cooldown means Warsect just spams damage. Yes, Warsect will just go on a continuous streak of damage output with barely any downtime. Literally just spamming powerful abilities like this. You can trivialize a lot of things with this setup in the game. Warsect also makes your own shots stronger as well and gives you defense too with its partner skill. So all across the board, we can safely say that the W in the name stands for this spell is a W. Combine this spell with either Tumut or Bristla to boost its attack power even more, doesn't matter which one since Warsect is both types, and you'll have a great time with this monster. Then the question remains, what could possibly be at number 1? Before we reveal the monster that takes the number 1 spot, a few honorable mentions. Kativa for being an early game monster, Vixie for facilitating insane level up strategies, Wombo Botan for monstrous weight capacity increases, and Kitsun for being able to cover you in every climate while being deadly. Now these are just a few examples, but they are all more known than the pals in today's list in my opinion. But if you want to know more about those as well as other pals, then check out my other Palworld videos where I also go over a bunch of other powerful pals as well as how to make very powerful teams with crazy synergies not mentioned in this video. However, for number 1 now then, it is time to reveal who sits on top of the list. It's the one and only Goriret. This is an insanely overlooked pal that might yet again be overlooked due to the curse of neutrality. But Goriret has an absolute amazing partner skill that when you upgrade your Goriret, and I highly recommend you to do so, will give you a plus 200% bonus to your attack power. And since Goriret is in fact a neutral pal, we will flip that neutrality curse into something positive in this case to combo that plus 200% bonus with the hardest hitting neutral attack in the game, Megaton Implode, which you can get with reading, and you will simply just one-shot everything accordingly. Everything. Yes, everything. Megaton Implode is a neutral attack, so you get another plus 20% bonus to your damage with it. And if you really want, you can make it as busted as you want by breeding it with attack boosting passives, 4 max level crevices and or rebunnies, and just good stats, and you have something that will one-shot a lot of bosses right here. One-shotting will also incapacitate your Gory Red, but with the viewing cage trick that I went over in my other video, you can just simply revive Gory Red every time and go from boss to 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 boss. It is too good, and as you see, without considering legendaries and all the pals in the game that already get a lot of attention, there are still so many pals out there that can make very powerful party setups for you to conquer the world of PALWORLD. Make sure you also conquer that like and subscribe button so together we can conquer the real world as well, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.